Hi everybody, welcome to CSO Strategy Elevate Your Move Scale Beyond. And our topic of discussion today is words that win. Public speaking power moves every leader must master in 2025. Your go-to podcast on cybersecurity, leadership, strategy, and growth. I am your host Prem Kumar AS, and today we'll be talking about how public speaking can make an impact in the leadership arena. A special welcome to everybody tuned on Power of Knowing Forum on our episode 258, 258 live on LinkedIn. We are honored to have author Sherry, CEO, public speaking coach, TEDx speaker, trained to lakh plus professionals joining us today. And our let's welcome our speaker onto the STM podcast and the, let's have a dive into the topic. Hi sir, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Prem sir. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Sir, a small intro about yourself, sir.
Well, I'm working as a professional public speaking coach for CEOs, CSU professionals, industrialists, public figures. I'm a 12 times TED speaker and I've written 12 books. I've been on Joe's Talks 4 times and more than 1500 plus public appearances on stage. And I have a mission to create 1 million public speakers in India by 2030. That means we're talking about 10 lakh youth leaders in India representing India on global platforms. So that is the mission I have, and I'm working on that exactly. So anything comes around public speaking, that's is equal to author Sherry, and that's exactly what I'm doing. That defines me.
Wonderful, sir. And I am putting a scroll down here on Sherry sir here, and you can connect to him on LinkedIn, and I'm putting the link as well down there. So let's dive into the topic. I have taken some pointers where I wanted your inputs to see how. What is the number one public speaking mistake even senior leaders still make in 2025, sir?
Well, I'm glad that you have started with the mistake, not the success. So, the number one mistake, as per me, what many CXOs are making when they go on the stage is that they are not themselves. They
Hmm.
prefer to use a script, they prefer to speak in verbatim. I believe that's the biggest mistake because the moment you give a task to your brain on the stage,
Okay.
then your functioning as an individual is already half. Now, you imagine with 50% efficiency how much you are going to speak. And that
Hmm.
is the problem. That is the mistake a lot of CXOs make. And the solution to this problem is start using structures, start removing papers. And that's exactly my mantra of coaching and mentoring is I make people paperless. You got to be paperless because when you are paperless, you are within you. You speak with conviction, you speak with expression, your body language speaks to the people, and most important, your aura and energy is at its epitome, and that's where public connects with you. You see, for any public speaker, the religion in public speaking, audience engagement. Audience engagement is the religion in public speaking. And if that religion is not being followed, Prem sir, then the things will go for a toss. An audience is not going to stay for a very long time with you. And I'm sure as a CXO you won't like it, isn't that?
No,
You
I
will
think
not appreciate.
a very valid pointer we started with the discussion. What I felt also was the same when you have a paper to refer, you are not talking out of your own self. Is what I felt. Apt point on the right example as well because when I have to refer to a material, I am not the person that I want to talk as a leader. I am talking as a person who has a script. So I think that's what I think is a big mistake. Is what my consideration after what you said, Sherry sir. So coming to the next point, what makes a speech memorable in an age of AI, of short attention spans? I think what I heard on Google is the attention span is about 18 seconds or something, sir, nowadays.
Oh, that's too high. 5 seconds. Well, I am afraid it's less than 5 seconds, Prem sir. But at the same time, you
Yes.
asked a very interesting question. And let me start by telling you that in today's time, the audience is looking for hooks. Number one. Number two, the audience is looking for authenticity.
Okay.
Number three, audience is looking for some reference which is connected to a very popular actor, identity, situation, or
Yeah.
an. So if you can start your talks like this, for example, if I have to speak on public speaking fear, I can start like this. 1894 in London, there was a breakfast meeting, and honorable father of nation, that time he was not father of nation, Mr. Mahatma Gandhi was sitting in that breakfast meeting and he started speaking with a piece of paper in front of around 30 to 35 people during the breakfast meeting. And guess what? Was he able to succeed? No. He actually left that room without having breakfast, leaving that paper because he had public speaking anxiety in that moment.
Okay.
Now, when I will start like this, will you listen to my entire talk or not?
Yes.
Probably, the probability is pretty high
Hmm.
because you really want to understand what happened to Mr. Mahatma Gandhi. He's the father of nation. He helped India to have independence. So you are eager to understand that, and that's what exactly I'm talking about when you start with a hook. And second is emotions. Emotion is the glue that causes the memories to stick. And that's the mantra. So if you will glue the emotion with the brain of people, if you will say something in emotions, it will directly connect the audience brain to what you are saying. And your objective as a speaker, as you rightly said, the attention span is quite less these days. Your attention should be always to how to tap to the audience mind and how to have the audience with you for a longer period. That is the reason, Prem sir, I love doing keynote speaking, because in keynote speaking, the speakers come well rehearsed.
Yeah.
They come well prepared. Their speeches are well crafted and structured. They are not talking haywire. I'm not here for any training session. I'm not doing any mentoring. I am giving a keynote, and keynote is meant for one single topic. And
Yeah.
when I'm talking about one single topic, I have one single goal and one single solution, which I really have to offer to make my audience feel impressed. And that is exactly what we do.
I agreed, sir. What you rightly said is it's kind of a pointer that you are trying to say, and you
Yeah,
stick on it, and that's the point that you bring somebody to talk. Now, the example that you gave was he was having breakfast in the morning, location, play, where is he standing, what is in front of him, how many number of people.
yeah,
That resonates. I think that's a reference point for anything that we discuss. Now, if I say today I had breakfast at this place, and many people will start connecting to it, right? So that's what I think, what we see as a reference point, and that stays in our mind for a long time. Now, example, what I this is another way of looking at an example is, you have good food, you don't remember it, but if you had a bad meal somewhere, you will always say that यहाँ पे खाना अच्छा नहीं है. So that
absolutely.
is a reference point that we will have always when
Yeah,
we
absolutely. You spoke about reference point. Look, this is what I have a Caesar.
okay.
Cut all your fillers,
Yes,
cut down
exactly.
your fear.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful.
Yeah, cut down your vocabulary which is not needed.
Okay, great. Sir, Han, now many of them don't have an experience of being a manager, right? So, what is your suggestion, or how can a first time manager own a room with zero prior speaking experience? Because I'll tell you my example after you give me an important point of this
Yeah.
pointer. I'll tell you what happened to mine after you give me this answer, sir.
You want me to answer first, or you're
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
okay? So, see, when you talk about the first-time managers or people who are now into the leadership role, there is a clean survey by Harvard Business, and they say When people are moving the corporate world from middle management to senior management, 92%, Prem sir, 92% of the people do not know how to deliver presentations. Goodness gracious me. And that is where this particular skill is so important, and it's evident to learn the art of public speaking. And to grow confidence, you need to do basic things. You don't have to do different things, you have to do things differently. And that's exactly what my point is. When you talk about delivering talks, the first and foremost thing that's your layer is that's confidence. So, how will you bring confidence to yourself? Confidence will come naturally to you when you know what is the central idea you have to deliver. Number one. Number two, you have to start small. You have to use your voice modulation. You have to start engaging with people. Cannot ignore it. And number three, you have to start getting into the real ideas, get into the stories. And that's where you will start bringing lot of engagement. As a first time manager, the underground principle will always remain the confidence. And let me tell you, our subject today, what we are talking and discussing is public speaking. And Dale Carnegie says something really fantastic. He says, public speaking is a royal road to self confidence. So, if you will start doing public speaking gradually, you will attain more than 13 powerful skills with you. And soon you will see that just by having confidence, what's the word? Confidence. Just by having confidence, you will gain access to expertise. You will start talking like a subject matter expert. And when you will sound like an expert, then nobody's going to question your articulation. Nobody's going to question you how you're doing stories. Nobody's going to question you who you are, where are you from. They are just getting influence. So get into the power of influence and follow confidence.
Sir, I will take that point because when I started the podcast, I was not a camera facing guy. I've told this in multiple podcasts, and I've never been on stage. I've been on small discussions where three four people are there, or maybe max five people, and I was very bad at stage. Okay, so then we started podcasting where we somebody called me into this podcast, and this is started by somebody else. That guy did about 30 40 podcasts, he left, so I continued it from there. Okay, we jointly did those podcasts, and all the credit to whatever is going on because he started it. Otherwise I would have not started it also, but I did not have confidence. That's what I wanted to tell you before.
Excellent, excellent.
Now
And
looking
I
at
can
two.
and I can see 258. Now
Yeah,
that's quite a number. It speaks about your consistency, Prince. Congratulations. Keep
thank you, sir.
rising and uplifting others.
Thank you. Thank you. So what I learned is what you said, baby steps. First I failed. We did not have any connections at all. We started with zero, and today our podcast viewership is about 5.5 lakhs per month.
Yeah, that's what consistency does to you, or for anybody who's following the consistency. Because or let me give you a statement. Let me give you a punch, and that is, repetition is the mother of all skills and sweet cousin of mastery. So, Prem sir, what you have followed is repetition. You are repeating every day, every week, every fortnight, every month, and you are becoming, and you are an expert now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that, sir. It's a great honor to have speakers and leaders coming and helping us on this mission, and they have shared amazing lessons that I I have 258 hours of material which I can republish or use, because that's the knowledge that I've accumulated with whatever podcast that we have done so far. So it's
Fantastic.
really amazing. I didn't have any confidence when I started. Today I'm able to speak to leaders like you and others and tell this is what we want the industry or the domain experts to come and tell this is where we stand, this is how things happen. We are there for you, and we are giving a platform where they can talk to leaders directly and speak on what topic they want to look at. So coming to our topic again, what three words have changed the way you speak and lead, sir?
Okay, so I believe that we call this a stem. So if you have the right stem when you begin your talk, you give the right intro. That's where the game changes, because the moment you start the right way. I've recently made a video also on YouTube. It will be live pretty soon. I want your audience to check it out. How to create an impact in the first 10 seconds of your talk. Now, that's exactly what you're asking in a way. So, when we talk about creating an impact in the beginning, I think the right choice of phraseology is extremely important. For example, if I'm sharing a story, I will start like this: Imagine yourself like a god.
Okay.
You have all the powers. Now, I'm asking you to imagine. So, the moment I say imagine, I'm asking you to shift your gears to somebody else. And for example, I'll start like this. I want you to picture yourself at the age of 10,
Okay.
at those beautiful moments of childhood. Imagine yourself wearing that knicker and pant and t-shirt and that hairstyle without oil, your hair, and you're playing in the ground. Now, suddenly, you start thinking like nostalgic, and you feeling, oh yeah, I was a kid. Oh yeah, oh, that was fun. Yeah, I'm missing that time. And then third, together we can and we will make a difference. So you starting with together, so we all are together. When we are combined with for doing something, then the mission gets bigger and bigger. So all in all, what I'm trying to tell you is, when you start with a punch, when you choose your initial words correctly, you give direction. What's the word? Direction.
Direction.
You give direction to a thought, to a perspective. And the moment you give a perspective, guess what? You are there for that.
Yeah.
You are there for that only. Your public speaking skills are meant to give perspectives and change perspectives of the people around you. And that's where people will start following you. They'll feel the impact. They will connect with you. So you are there not to impress, but to express. And if you express it rightly, the people will not going to forget you, and they will stick to you.
That's that's an amazing statement where you say is you give what the audience is requiring, or give important pointers that they can remember for a longer time and cherish what you have been speaking. Is that's the pointer that I take from what you have told. Can a leader exist without public speaking abilities today in a hybrid workplace?
No, I don't think so, because you see, we are living in a world where everything has gone digital now. In
Yeah.
fact, you need to understand the nuisance of how video conferencing, video speaking, and digital speaking is done. You see, there's a screen out here, my body, half torso available. You can see my hands and my voice. So, half of my appearance, both my hands and my voice, these three things are imperative. What's the word? Imperative.
Imperative.
And then second, your background. Your background tells a story. My background tells a story. Your background tells a story. I am at my studio in my house, and you are at the place wherein probably you have your office, and it appeals that you are somebody who's a reader, because you love displaying the books and you
Yeah.
really want people to take knowledge from you. And that is exactly the power of what we're trying to do digitally. Coming back to the power of digitalization, we all have seen the unprecedented times of COVID 19, Prem sir.
Yeah.
Nobody was able to walk out of the house, and we were desperate. What's the word? Desperate to share
Desperate.
our thoughts. You cannot put a mute on the mouth of thought leaders. The thoughts are overflowing. They really want to speak and share their thoughts with the world. So, what exactly they can do? And that is where the video speaking comes into the role. And many people have learned the art of speaking in front of the camera. So the maximum impact you can make in front of the camera is by using some of the props also. Like I used one scissor some time back, and now you see I am using one hanger. Hanger, hang me. Ah. So what you will do? You'll do funny things. People will remember you. You'll use prop. People will remember you. You need to understand the art of visualization. You need to understand the art of creative visualization. And when you start using these tips and techniques which I have just shared, you will see that your video speaking are going to next level. Prim sir, I cannot hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
I
was
can hear you
unmuted.
now.
Yeah. I think what you said is When you give gestures or put pointers very clearly, people will remember you. And the examples that you put for each of the pointer that you want to take makes a lot of difference. And now, how do we speak both boardrooms and frontline teams without losing either? Because we need the frontline also, we need the board as well, right? So, how do we do that?
So I think the question again is both the boardroom people and the CXOs, you all are working for an organization,
Yeah.
and share your vision to an executable action. And in order to do that, I want you to draft your strategies and convert those strategies into storytelling. Start sharing stories with the strategies, because when you will share all your strategies using the stories along with the statistics, along with the numbers, you will see there's a tremendous amount of shift happening within the team, and that's when you can leverage it. And overall, the objective of any organization is profit, customer centricity, leadership qualities, and putting negotiation skills into action. Because in any way, any organization you're working upon, they are selling something, and that's where it all comes into under one roof. If you are following everything like this, you got to understand that you have to bring that vision into strategy and that strategy into storytelling.
True, sir. On that front, what and because if you look at how we are impressed with the way the movies are made, it is a storytelling.
Yeah.
You look at, because they create a story which is as real as it is, and you are glued into the screen for 3 hours, 2 hours. That means there is a powerful way of keeping you engaged all the time. That's the power of storytelling, is what I understand from what you have been saying. Have you ever said the wrong thing at the wrong time, and what did it teach you?
Well, this happened quite a number of times, and I'm sure viewers and listeners who are listening to
Yeah.
us, it must have happened if they are A speakers and if they are into the learning phase. You tend to make mistakes, but it is about how you handle those mistakes with humility and how you handle those mistakes with your authenticity. That's extremely important. And if you can display these two important aspects of life, then people really connect with you at a deeper level. In fact, when you feel that you have done some mistake, people start thinking that, oh my God, this man is like me. In fact, as a public speaker, if you handle your humility at your peak, then audience will feel that there is something to learn for us as well. I remember T. Harbecker, one of the great speakers I've come across. He said something. He said that if you are doing a public speaking speech, do not assume yourself to be different. Treat yourself to be like people, the people who are sitting in front of you. Because if you will start becoming somebody else, people will start looking at you as somebody else. But if you will start looking as if they are, the way they perceive themselves, you will start becoming one amongst all of them. And guess what? This is an amazing way of collaboration and connection. And why are you here? You are there to create bond, relationship, connections, engagement. And that is where your public speaking skill will uplift in that very moment for you as a speaker and also for the audience. So your small mistake can become a blessing. As I said, blessing. What's the word? Blessing. If you will handle it with humility and you will create a scope of learning. And remember, there's always a scope of learning. I've seen various A speakers and various speakers who are pro, but still they have their heartbeat pounding because it is a natural phenomena which gets followed in the body. You cannot stop it.
True,
How
sir.
you handle it, manage it is what is up to you.
Exactly. So, what I've learned also is speakers, if they accept and say, "Yeah, we did a mistake," and we stand by the team who's failed. Also, I'll recall Abdul Kalam's words where he said when there was a failed mission that he had, and he was told to go and go meet the press. His boss took over and said, "Yes, we failed and stuff like that, and we had a mistake. We'll come back to you." But once they succeeded, he said, "Now it's your turn to go and do the pointer. Go present yourself and say, this is what we did." So that's how the leadership model comes up, is what I feel, or I get what you're saying on that. Now, what are three things every speaker must prepare before the first word is spoken? Three
Okay.
pointers.
Before I talk about the preparation, I must tell you there's an amazing actor, Pankaj Tripathi. तो पंकज त्रिपाठी
Yeah.
का पॉडकास्ट में सुन रहा था एंड he
Uh-huh.
said something amazing. He said when I was working on the film of Atal Bihari Vajpayee's biography, he
Mm-hmm.
was working closely with Rajesh Sharma, who's the chief editor of India TV. And Rajesh Sharma shared one story with Pankaj कि मैं जब एक बारी वाजपेयी साहब के पास गया और मैंने उनसे पूछा कि सर एक अच्छे पब्लिक स्पीकर कैसे बन सकते हैं द वे यू आर शूटिंग क्वेश्चंस टू मी रजत शर्मा शूट अ क्वेश्चन टू वाजपेयी साहब कि वाजपेयी साहब
Yeah.
आप तो इतने अच्छे वक्ता हैं इतने अच्छे स्पीकर हैं आपके जैसा बनना कैसे बने वो कहता भाई देखो अच्छा स्पीकर बनने की जरूरत बिल्कुल भी नहीं है अगर बनना ही चाहते हो ना तो अच्छा लिसनर बनो और
Perfect.
वो बनो जो कि ये जानता हो कि कब कहाँ पे क्या नहीं बोलना अगर सीखना ही चाहते हो तो ये सीखो मेरे से बोलना मत सीखो सो कमिंग बैक टू योर क्वेश्चन it is always about how your audience are responding to you. And I would like to answer your question by saying that it is more about how you focus on the audience mind. It is more about how you are connecting to the emotional state of the human being, and that is where you connect to the people at a deeper level, and how you are giving clarity to the people with your thought, your ideas, your innovative perspectives is what is going to decide how your audience is going to like you for a longer period of time.
100%, sir. आपने what you said is listening is one great skill that a leader should learn. Is what I also got to understand, and there was a discussion that happened is a good leader speaks last. Is what is the point of that I got to understand is he takes the perspective of everybody and collectively says this is what is this and this is what is this and this is where we stand. My view now, right? And he when he talks on the last, he's taken everybody's pointers. He has huge amount of data where he can take pointers and give better answers, is what I understood from various leadership talks that I've been having. And it is always listening, as you rightly said.
And
That's
one more
one skill.
important point, Prem sir, one more important point I would like to highlight here.
Yes, sir.
आप जब भी स्पीकिंग कर रहे हैं आपको ये पता होना चाहिए आप क्या कमाना है ओनली नॉट मनी इज ओनली 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 वे ऑफ क्रिएटिंग एन इम्पैक्ट मतलब सिर्फ पैसे कमाना नहीं है आप लोग कमाने आए हैं वहां पर आप लोग कमाइए व्हेन यू विल अर्न पीपल देन यू विल अर्न एवरीथिंग इन द हॉल
So, you made a very important point when I started this podcast from knowing as power of knowing forum. I said power of knowing क्या है समझने के लिए ही चाहिए. That's what the whole idea of bringing power of knowing forum was. I should know something, then I should listen.
एब्सोल्युटली वेल सेड
So when we said power of knowing is I am just listening to what people are saying, leaders are talking about, their journeys, their examples, their pointers, like many pointers that you have given today. These pointers give a lot of knowledge for us to talk and sometimes not talk, right?
एब्सोल्युटली ऑसम
Sir, how can leaders use storytelling, inspire action, and not just applause, sir? That's one point that I want to understand from you, sir.
Okay, so there's an interesting autobiography of Satya Nadella where he talks about his experience when he was there in the interview for the first time with the director of the company at Microsoft. And he said that I was asked a question in that interview, and the question was imagine a situation where you come across a child who is injured on the road. What is the first thing you will do, Satya?
Mhm.
And
Okay.
Satya was like, I'll immediately call the ambulance and I'll get that boy assisted. And Satya did not realize that the question was actually connecting to emotional intelligence. And the interviewer said, you're absolutely wrong. Had I
Okay.
been in your place, I would have picked that child up, put him in my car, drove my car till the hospital, comes into my place, in my journey, and I would have dropped that kid, get his first aid done, then I would have taken a sense of relief that I'm back now.
Okay.
So what you said is sympathy, and what I did was empathy. And as a leader, if I want you to be in my organization, I do not want you to sympathize with people. I want you to empathize with people. So, your question, Prem sir, how will great leaders share great stories? This is a small anecdote which I shared, and this anecdote is actually connected to action. What's the
Okay.
word? Action. When you talk about as a leader in front of public, start sharing stories which has reality, which has hooks, which has authenticity, and which has some action to take in their life, which has some clarity, which gives some clarity. It removes the darkness and brings that brightness in their life. And that is where the stories will become more powerful and more engaging and more rememberable.
Sir, talking about what happens is you go with lot of preparation. You have all the data, but you go
Yeah.
blank. That happens with most
Yeah.
of the leaders.
Yes.
What does or how do we recover from that kind of a mind block, or when your mind goes
Yeah.
blank in the mid of a talk? How do we recover ourselves?
See, the best way of recovering is first you confess. Yeah. And many people don't want to confess. I have seen many CXOs like this. So, but I say you confess, because the moment you confess, you actually own that situation.
Hmm.
The moment you do not confess, you are still not owning the situation. See, your important agenda as a public speaker is to own the situation, grip and get the energy of the room in your hold, and then start talking. So, if you are forgetting something, I believe you need a lot of structures to talk. Learn the art of public speaking, get into the ideas of techniques, and start practicing. My dear friend, you're short of rehearsals because you feel that you are perfect. There's nothing called perfect in this world. Perfection is a complete myth.
Yeah. No, I take this pointer because there was few people whom I know. They were perfect. They want to look everything perfect, but when they started doing everything perfect, they were losing people rather than having people with them. So what I've seen is that people were leaving them because they wanted to look their perfection, but they were not counting the others around them. So perfection is a myth. You're 100% on it, sir. Now coming to what does your public speaking style say about your leadership DNA? How do we look at that, sir?
A very interesting question. I would like to share that uh, when when you start doing public speaking, you'll understand that speaking is not a skill. It's an X-ray of how you lead your teams, how you lead your strategies, how you lead your innovations. So you have to start with a certain tone of voice. Start being polite wherever it's required. Start lowering down your volume of talk wherever it's required. Start raising the volume wherever it's required. Start bringing that energy. So learn the art of tone, pace, and your ability to create conversations. And once you develop this art, then you will see that it is becoming a total extra, because you will have an edge as a speaker, as a leader.
Okay, great pointer, sir. Now coming to another thought, how can an introverted leader build executive presence through speaking?
Okay, so introvert is just a way of telling that people speak a little less.
Okay.
Introvert by any means does not mean that you are introvert, you are stupid. You
Hmm.
are
Okay.
you are not meant for great things in life. No, no, no. Let me
Hmm.
debunk the myths. In fact, if you will talk about extroverts, they speak more, but many times they do not have the profundity in their phraseology, in their diction. But when the introverts talk, they have a lot of depth, clarity, and actionable points in their talk. So, as per my experience, introvert speakers are more impactful than extrovert speaker. And by any means, I'm not labeling you, label, I'm not labeling you as introvert or extrovert. It is just the way of sharing that you speak a little less, you don't open your mouth as much as a normal person do, and that's where we label them extrovert. Do not go anything beyond that. It is not a negative word. Many people feel, oh, I'm an introvert, I'm so sad. Why are you so sad? Because somebody told me I'm an introvert. So what? Introverts are more intelligent.
I was reading somewhere, sir, where few people don't talk
Yep.
because they don't see that synchronization there between the person who is sitting opposite. But if I find a person who's in sync with me, I will be the most talkative person. What do you say, sir?
Sorry, please come again. Your voice got cracked.
Now, I've seen people where they talk to people who are in sync with them. And if they don't find that sync in the other person, they don't talk.
Yeah, that happens because they are trying to find the common ground. They
Okay.
want people to match their nerve first, because the moment you will say, oh, तुम क्या बोलते हो यार, क्या बात करते हो, मैं पता ही कुछ नहीं है. The moment you will say like this to in front of an introvert, they will start feeling more depressed because they feel that my thoughts are rejected. I lost my
I'm
world.
not heard. I'm
Yeah,
not heard.
and they start feeling close to what hard means in their life. But that's again not the right way to do it. So as far as you said, it's all about matching the ground.
Okay. Okay. Got it, sir. Sir, can you help us on what's your go-to phrase or quote when opening a keynote or a pitch, sir? Because public
Oh,
speaking is the start of pitch, and public speaking keynote stuff are the
well,
main things that take up time.
that is totally depending on what kind of topic I have in hand. That totally depends on what kind of audience I have. So it totally depends on that those parameters. It is never the same. But I usually say that success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So and that's exactly what has brought things to me. So life is all about exploring yourself, and when you start attracting right things, then you manifest you.
Sir, manifestation is a different thing. That's a different level of telling. You give out, outpour yourself, then the outpour will come to you as well. So that's what I think.
Yeah,
Most of the thing times happens.
absolutely.
What do you look for great in a great speaker when hiring or mentoring? Sir?
See, when you're hiring, looking out for some great hirings, uh, confidence is absolutely the number one thing which you should look at. Then second is the clarity,
Hmm.
and the third is the composure. So confidence, clarity, and composure, three C's, I will definitely look at, because this is where you start understanding the relevance of an employee, which fits into the organizational objectives and to those relevant roles, and
Hmm.
how he can build up strategies and handle teams and develop revenue for the organization by working diligently with the team also, and also without the team as an individual, as a professional.
Okay. In your opinion,
Yeah.
what's the most underused speaking move that instantly elevates a pitch or impact?
It's a pause.
Okay, I'll take that point when I had a discussion when I was seeing Steve Jobs' pointer when he was asked a question. He paused it after a few seconds and he spoke. The impact was much bigger. That's what I saw when you did the pause thing that happened just now.
Now I'll speak with pauses, okay? I'll answer your
Okay,
question with pauses so
sure,
that
sir.
audience will understand it more. When you start talking like a professional, or you are in the capacity of a CEO, you will come across a lot of people who are ready to learn through you, your experiences, your rock bottoms, your failures, and of course, your skills. Now, see, when I'm talking like this, what is happening? I'm giving you a lot of time to digest my points. Second, what is happening with me as a speaker is I am drawing a lot of time to speak in a more expert way. And third, I'm absolutely clear and I'm in sync and harmony with my mind and my mouth. That is the power of voice. So, what I just demonstrated is medium term voice. So, I call this as, uh, medium term pause. I call this as short term pause, medium term pause, and long term pause. And then there comes strategic pause, which is more than 5 seconds and above. If you can master these different pauses, then what will happen, Prem sir?
You'll learn a lot in terms of processing before you talk.
No, I'll
That's
I, I'll make you feel more attentive, just like I'm doing right now. Are you feeling more attentive? What is he
yes,
saying?
yes,
Are
definitely.
you more drawn into my speech? What is he trying to say? And that's the power of pauses.
Okay, great pointers, sir. I'll have a note all these points where when I speak, I take pauses and speak. I'll take a note of this. Coming to the next point, how should leaders tailor their speaking style while talking to the Gen Z employees? Because
Okay. Yeah, this is one question which I usually answer when I go for keynote speeches, especially in startups. See, for Gen Z employees, you need to speak with a lot of authenticity. You need to walk the talk. You cannot
hmm,
say things which you have not done. You have read it in the book. I remember I went to a workshop, and the workshop name was Thick and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Some trainer got inspired overnight, and he started delivering and selling tickets. And I was in the phase of learning, and there was a time in my life when I attended around 250 workshops consistently for around 3 years. Just like you made 250 podcast episode, I was totally mad because it's the mad people which makes the difference. MAD is mad, which is making a difference. So people
okay,
who are mad, they make a difference, and I was just trying to make a difference on how public speaking is done. And that was the time when I come across this workshop, and this gentleman who was delivering this workshop, he actually started talking with a reference of books. And I was wondering, was this the reason I have spent 10,000 bucks? No, that was not the reason. I was here to understand his perspectives, his experiences with the book reference. And he was not at all talking about that. So I felt as an audience, my 10,000 bucks were wasted.
okay,
However, I had my own set of points which I got in learning also, but broadly, I didn't felt glad for the agenda I've came from. The learning is connected to this question what you're talking. Had I been in place of him, I would have spoken about the practicalities of that book connected to my life, how I have experienced it, how I have practiced it, and how I have implemented those strategies. And what are the results, what are the pros and cons, and what are the various impacts it has made in my life. So, Gen Z are looking for brevity, to the point. Gen Z is looking for clarity. Gen Z is looking for something which we use in effective communication. Effective communication is all about brevity. So when you share your nuggets clearly, effectively, Gen Z is looking for that. And I want you to prepare more on the short phrases than for the long-term stories, especially when you are in front of Gen Zs, because they are really hungry to understand what you want to say the entire story in just two sentences or one sentence, and that's what we call quotes and phrases. So you have to have your grip strong on the quotes and the phrases as well when you're talking in front of Gen Zs.
now coming to the last two pointers that I wanted to speak is when is silence more powerful than words in leadership communication?
I have demonstrated that. It is more about how you use your real life examples. Talk about. Um, I think when you talk about real life examples, you get into the different conflicts, thoughts, ideas, and of course, at the same time, you start talking about different perspectives connected to your own lives, and that is where it makes a difference. Yeah.
Okay. Sir, what role does empathy play in public speaking for leadership, sir?
Well, it is very simple that you are there to express, not to impress. That's the statement we use in public speaking. So when you are talking with the empathy, you are actually talking about expressing the way it should be felt by the audience. And I've just given you one example: the difference between empathy and sympathy. So empathy is always about seeing through the eyes of others.
Can public speaking change a company's trajectory? Have you seen it happen? Is that
Well, not directly, but yes, indirectly, I have seen when the leader of the organization, the CEO or the promoter, when they start taking charge of each and every word they speak in front of public, when they go well with their crafted speeches and their stories, when they go well when with their crafted statistics and the information they're going to share at public platforms, nationally or internationally, then guess what happens? It is it has a direct impact on the leadership team. It has a direct impact on the production, the exports, the trading, the manufacturing, the purchasing, and of course the sales and HR as well. So we are talking about a holistic impact of becoming a speaker, because all the great speakers are great readers and all the great readers are the great leaders. So in order to become one, you have to become a great reader as well.
point taken, sir? What final advice would you give to leaders who still fear public speaking?
Well, I would say follow the punchline which I've created after a long shot of experience in my life. And as an industry mentor for public speaking, I always say, don't go for a speech, go for impact. Because when you go for impact, the speech will automatically be taken care. And the impact you create is unforgettable in the minds of people. And that's why you're there.
Great pointer, sir. Sir, I have come to the end of the thoughts that I had in my mind. I just wanted to summarize on what we have covered over the 45 minutes that we spoke. I'll just take few pointers which I
Sure.
had. We talked about hooks and strategies. That's how you connect and start. Patterns of interruption and emotional acts is what we spoke about. Then we spoke about emotion sticks. Doesn't you use the 10-second hook wisely, because that first hook is what you said will catch the attention is what you said. And then we said offer confidence as a pointer, because confidence only takes you places is what we said. Voice modulation, engage via questions is what we understood. And then we spoke about how three words can speak to lead is reveal powerful vocabulary, say let's imagine or together. These are the pointers, these are the things that we can take. Then we spoke about how public speaking in today's hybrid environment where we work from home. You talked about video calls, we spoke about COVID piece. Then we spoke about how leaders were engaging people even during COVID period, and we still had leaders talking to us in various forms. Like video was the main form that was there for us to speak at that time. And we spoke about details on how boardrooms and frontline people can be spoken about. What is the communication that we give when we speak to frontline people and the CXOs without losing either of their viewpoints. Then we spoke about somewhere three things about focus, intent, emotion state. Taking clarity is one pointer that we spoke about. Then we spoke about moments to build pointer, where everybody needs a story that has to have that moment to be brought in. Then we spoke about the major pointer where you paused for a minute and I was looking for what is that I'm going to hear. So that's one great pointer that I got to understand. Then we spoke about debunking myths of powerful storytelling, because when you relate a story to an issue or a problem, the understanding of a problem becomes more easy to take. And listening is one skill that you said you should not, when you are a leader you should be listening more than talking less, is what I understood. And Pause makes a lot of difference is one thing that you said. And finally, what we spoke about empathy, not sympathy part. And then the last pointer that we said is don't look for perfection, be the person you want to be and deliver what is in your mind rather than sticking to slips
Fantastic.
or notes. Right, sir. That's what I have taken as notes to what I had on based on what you are talking today. It's been great having you, sir. Any last pointers that you would like to add or talk about before we close, sir?
Well, I just want to say that it has been a very long time. I have also been recognized by the Honorable Prime Minister of India in 2022 for my contribution, because when you are having a mission which transcends your imagination, then the people out there are watching you, they connect with you, they connect with your thought process. So, my only request and my only mission, I would say, for all the listeners out there is that start introducing public speaking as a skill in the schools and colleges. Start motivating the kids around to learn this important skill, because just by the single skill of your clarity in communication and articulation, you can win the world. And I'm not joking. So you can really win the world. You can be the next Prime Minister of India. You can be the next Chief Minister of your state. You can be the next Union Minister or Cabinet Minister or a public figure or an entrepreneur or industrialist or a celebrity or a corporate CEO. You can be anyone. Just learn the art of communication. You will never ever repent on the advice I gave you on this podcast with Prem sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one question that I had, you mentioned that you had the honor of meeting the Prime Minister and taking an award. How was that moment, sir?
It was a
Because he's a great leader who has put,
oh
and
yeah.
the communication style is great. So, your
So
take on.
I'll tell you a few pointers. The first and foremost thing which I noticed that he really embodies the community's feelings. So he
Yeah.
was well dressed. His image was drawn in such a way that he was looking like as if he's part of the community only. He was wearing a turban. He was in the kurta pajama. He's wearing a half jacket, looking very decent, sober. So how you wear when you are talking in front of community is very important. That's what I've understood and learned in that day. And he has second, he has a lot of dynamism. He's a dynamic personality. I felt that on that day when I met him. And thirdly, his way of creating an impact through the right words and choosing the right stories and talking about the history is impeccable. And fourthly, how he treats and greets with each and every person in the room by going to them individually, shaking hands, and talking and creating a rapport is really really amazing. I've felt that. And last but not the least, I would say that India is growing under his leadership, and we really bless him good health and
Yeah.
long age and prosperity in his life.
Absolutely, sir. We've seen something which we give to the world in a kind of vaccine. That's one big thing that we
Yeah.
have seen under his leadership. And hats off to the work that he's been doing, sir. With this, I think we would like to conclude our session. What we have done today, keeping the session in mind, we have streamlined this session to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And
And
hope
do share
all
your
this.
comments. When you will drop a comment, I promise to reply on each and every comment, because your comment matters. Wherever you are listening and you feel there is something which you learn, drop a comment. You have any questions, drop a comment. I promise to answer you. Prem sir will answer you.
Definitely, we'll do that. Our next podcast is on the 10th of June, which will be our 259th podcast with a new topic on cybersecurity and technology, which we will be streaming on 6:30 p.m. IST on 10th of June. Uh, with this, we would like to conclude our session. Looking forward to see you again and good day. Bye for now. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.